In today's full body workout, we're going to start in standing and then we're going to make our way down to the mat. So you'll need a pair of supportive running shoes, your mat, a place on the wall, and option a couple of the exercises you could do on a sturdy table or countertop. All right, let's get started. We'll start marching on the spot. Just getting warmed up at the beginning of our workout routine. Letting ourselves gradually get our heart rate up, breathing rate up, get the muscles and joints ready for the workout. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. 2 more times. And then we'll go into high knees. So just alternating lifting knees, and you can add opposite arm coming forward. So throughout the workout, just remember to go at a pace that works for you. Make any modifications, so don't work through any pain, and have little break sips of water whenever that works for you. We're standing nice and tall. You could think about slightly pulling the belly button in to engage core, lifting the chest. Just going nice and easy here at the beginning of this routine. 4, 3, 2, and we'll switch to hamstring curls. We're going to have feet a little bit wide and then lifting heels behind. Shoulders are back, palms facing back, and we'll add pushing the arms back. And once we get into the movement, coming back to core engaged, standing nice and tall. Working back of the legs here, back of the shoulders. Keep it going. 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to go into tapping side to side. So just tapping toes out to the side. Arms are alongside the body with palms facing in. And you can add arm lifts. So just lifting the arms to a height that feels right for you. You could go right up to shoulder height, but we're not going to go higher than shoulder height. So we want to move the body in all directions as we're getting warmed up. So this is little side to side moves here. Four, 3, 2, 1. We're going to tap heels forward. Go ahead, alternate heel taps forward. And you can add just some swinging arms, just gently letting those arms swing along with the movement of the heel taps. We're getting a little bit of a dynamic stretch to the back of the calf muscles, into the heel. And continue with these arm swings, and we're just going to switch to toe taps back. So whenever you're ready, just switch to tapping toes back. For 4, 3, 2, last one. Awesome work for your warm-up. So standing nice and tall, we could just roll the shoulders 3 times, rolling shoulders up, back and down, and do 2 more like that. Wonderful. We're going to do a balance exercise here. Working on balance will improve your daily life balance and prevent or reduce risk of falls. So let's do that right away. We're going to stand close to a wall or a support. You can start with one hand on the wall. And then line your feet up. So you're making a line with your feet. The heel of the front foot could be touching the toe of the back foot. If that's feeling a bit wobbly, you can also put a bit more space in between your feet. So find the positioning that's a challenge for you. And then you're starting with the hand on the wall. Think about pulling the belly button in, lifting the chest, tall posture. Once you're here, find a spot to focus your gaze on, and then you can play around with taking the hand off and on your support. If you're new to balance exercises, maybe you leave the fingertips on your support the whole time, and gradually you could play around with that. So we'll just take one more full inhale, exhale. And then with the hand on support, we'll just switch the position of the feet around. Other foot comes in front. Thinking about that tall spine. Find your spot to focus your gaze. And then again, just working on hand on and off your support. Another full breath, big inhale, exhale. And then coming out of this position, we're going to come into squats. So squats are a great functional exercise. We're going to have feet just a little bit wider than hips, about hip width or a little bit wider. So find what's comfortable for you. Hands can be on hips, and then we're initiating this move with hips moving back as if there's a chair or a high stool behind, and then standing up tall. So keep going. We're keeping the chest lifted the whole time, so not rounding the spine forward, keeping the eyes forward, knees tracking over top of ankles. So from the side, looks like this. And let's do two more. Nice work. And then you can just shake that out. Next exercise is lunges. For our lunge today, we're going to come into lunge position and hold for an isometric or holding muscle strengthening exercise. So start by standing nice and tall. You could take one foot, step back, land on the toes of the back foot. Your back heel is lifted. And then we're going to bend both knees. So your front knee is over top of your ankle, and the back knee is just bending down to a position where you feel you can hold. The upper body is upright. You have your hand on your support, and feel free to just keep the hand on the support. We're working on muscle strength here. So coming into the position, and then noticing your breath, nice full breaths for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step forward, and then we're just switching the leg, stepping the other leg back. Again, land on the back toes, back heel lifted, bending both knees. Check your front knee is over top of the ankle, and you could bend the back knee a little bit more. Just coming to that position. You know now you're staying here. And we're going to count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and step forward. Nice work. Another isometric exercise, we're going to do a wall squat. So these exercises where we're holding a position are great especially if you have joint issues. So if you have some kind of issue with your knee, for example, you can still strengthen your muscles by doing these exercises. So let's find a place on the wall. We're going to have back against the wall. So bring your hips back, bring your upper body back of the head touches the wall. And then from here, we're just going to make small moves forward with our feet. So this is where we definitely want to have non-slip shoes on. We don't want our feet to slip forward. So just little steps forward as you're bending your knees, coming down into a seated position. Now you don't have to come right to 90 degrees at your knees. You just come to the place where you feel you can feel your quadriceps, your leg muscles firing up, but you can hold here. So just come into the position, come back to your breath, and we'll count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come up. Awesome work. You could just shake out your legs a little bit here. We'll continue with the wall behind us. So this time we're going to again bring the hips against the wall, the upper back, the back of the head against the wall, and just have your feet close to the wall. And then open your palms forward. So the back of the arms, back of the hands against the wall. We're going to do little wall angels here. So sliding the arms out to the sides, just come to a height that feels right for your shoulders. You don't have to come too high, and then bring the arms back down. So the whole time we're working on keeping the hips, upper back, back of the head against the wall as best you can, and keeping the hands, back of the hands against the wall. This is really a great postural exercise, working the mid-back area around the scapula and the shoulders. And we'll just do 2 more of those. Last one here. Awesome. Next, for our standing series, we're going to do either wall or countertop push-ups and plank. So if you're new to this, you can start on the wall, and I'm going to demonstrate on a sturdy table. My table is pushed up against a wall, so anytime you're doing these exercises, you want to make sure it's either a very sturdy countertop or a table that's not going to move, and again, those supportive shoes. All right, so we're going to place our hands about shoulder width apart onto your support, and then just walk the feet back, make your body into a plank position. We're starting with push-ups here, thinking about core engaged, hips, shoulders, knees all in one line. And thinking about that core engaged first is going to help us from swaying back and forth into, as we're doing the push-ups. So belly button slightly pulling in towards the spine. And then keeping the elbows close to the body, we're going to bend our elbows, lower the body, and then push away. And keep going like this. You can inhale on the way down, and exhale as you push away. Let's keep going. We can do 2 more. Nice work. And then lifting up and coming away from your support. And you can just shake things out. We just had a nice workout for the back of the arms. And then we're going to do a plank hold in that same position. This time we're just going to hold. So coming back into position, hands about shoulder width apart, stepping feet back, belly engaged. Bringing your body all into one line. And if you get into position and you feel like it's challenging to hold here, you can bring your feet forward. Or if you want a little more intensity, you could bring the feet back just 1 more little notch and then get into position. And we're breathing 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. And step forward. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to make our way onto our mat. So if you're new to getting up and down from a mat, you can always have a hand on a wall, put one knee down, the other knee down, and then one hand in the other hand. We're just going to start here in hands and knees position. So our wrists are under our shoulders, knees under the hips, fingers are spread wide. Core engaged, little scoop in the lower abdominals. And then just a small move here, moving the hips side to side. So just a little move over to one side, and then through center and a little move over to the other side. So just kind of waking up that hip movement, side to side moves here. One more each side. And we'll meet back in center. At any time when we're doing this positioning, if this is not comfortable for your wrists and hands and knees, you could, a couple modifications is to come up onto your fists or come down onto forearms. Right, and then from here, we're going to alternate lifting our leg out behind. So go ahead, lift one leg behind you, and we're just coming to hip height, and then bring that knee down. And then other leg, lift the leg behind and lower down. So we're gonna alternate sides. You could inhale as you lift and exhale, lower. So as we're working each leg, working the back of the legs into the glutes, the rest of the body is working on stabilizing. So just notice how your torso is centered between your hands and doing your best to keep that center position. Breathing. Let's do 4 more. Nice work, and knees come down. Take a moment here, we can lift up to kneeling just to shake out the arms, roll out the wrists. You could bring the palms together just to stretch out the wrists for a moment. We're going to come back to hands and knees. One leg, we're going to keep the knee bent, and we're going to lift and lower out to the side. Go ahead and lift and lower. Rest of the body stabilizing again. The next time we lift our knee out to the side, let's pause there and we'll go into circles. So go ahead, circle that leg. Keeping the knee bent, we're just circling into the hip joint. And when you feel ready, you can go in the other direction with your hip circles. Let's do one more. And bring that knee down. And then we'll just repeat that on the other side. You're lifting and lowering, knee out to the side. Next time you lift your knee out to the side, going into circles. And you can change direction with your circles. Nice big range of motion through the hip. One more. Nice work. And bring that knee down. We're going to make our way onto our back. So you can come onto one hip, slide your lower arm out, roll onto the back. Just take your time to get here. Once you get on your mat, if your preference is to take your shoes off, you can always do that at this point because we are staying down on the mat. All right, so just landing here on your back, feet are on the mat with knees bent. You can bring your hands onto your belly. Just notice your breath. Tune into a couple of big breaths, filling up air to the bottom of the lungs and letting all the air come back out of the lungs. And then fingertips on hip bones. And we're just going to do a little tilt of the of the hip, anterior, posterior. So we're going to think about lifting the tailbone slightly as we gently flatten the lower back. We're not forcing that. And then the tailbone comes down as we come back to an arch in the lower back. And just going back and forth with this little anterior posterior tilt of the pelvis. And then come to neutral, so halfway between those two tilts. Thinking about core engagement, slightly pulling belly button toward the spine, thinking about a little scoop in the lower abdominals, core is engaged, hands alongside the body, palms are down. And then we're going to do knee lifts, alternating sides. So one knee comes towards the chest and lower down, and then the other knee. And alternating sides. So as you're doing this, you're just going to keep your feet relaxed. So the feet can stay a little bit lower than the knees. And in this way, we want to really tune into using the abdominal muscles for this exercise. So it's a nice, gentle exercise where we can focus on that abdominal work. And we'll go one more each side. And both feet down, have a breath. And with the core engaged, we're going to lift both feet. This time you can flex your feet so your toes are pointing up. And then we're going to alternate heel taps down. So starting with both feet lifted, one foot comes down, tap your heel and lift, and then other foot down and lift. Alternating sides. You're breathing. Again, noticing that abdominal work. Let's go 4 more. 4, 3, nice slow controlled moves. Last one. And then one foot down and the other foot down. Come back to your breath. Arms alongside the body, palms down. We're going to do some bridge variations. So feet are close to the body, pushing into the feet. Let's lift the hips, just coming to the height that feels right for you. Pause at the top and then slowly lower. Just noticing each section of the back touching down as you slowly lower. And again, lifting hips, keeping the legs parallel so the knees are not falling out to the side, and then slowly lower. We'll do a few more like that, lifting to your bridge, coming back down. Each time you lift, have a little pause at the top, really working the back of the legs and the glutes. And we'll do 2 more. And let the hips come down. We're going to do a one-legged bridge. So take your right ankle and cross it over top of the left knee, and then just let your right knee fall out to the side. So this figure 4 position. Pushing into the left foot, lift the hips again. And you could bring your fingertips onto your hips. We want to think about keeping our hips level. So we're not letting that right side dip down. We're keeping level. Pause at the top and slowly lower. And we'll just do one more on this side. Lifting up, pause at the top and lower. And then we're going to switch sides. Right foot down, left ankle on the right knee. And let that knee fall out to the side. Pushing into the foot, lift to your bridge and lower. And one more time. Nice work. And foot comes down. We're going to lift one more time up to bridge and hold there. So go ahead, lift. We've got both feet down now. We're lifting up to bridge, pausing at the top. We're going to do a small move of moving the hips side to side. And again, we're going to try not to dip the hips. So go ahead and just let them both move over to one side and through center and over to the other side, as if you had a support under your hips and you're just sliding across a level support. And let's go one more each side. And back to center. And once again, slowly, slowly coming down. Just massage your back on the way down. Nice work. We're going to roll over onto one side. And support your head with your lower arm. You can either support it with the elbow bent, or you can bring your head right down on your arm. Either way is totally fine, whatever feels comfortable for you. And then we've got both legs straight. We're going to put a little bend in that bottom leg and top hand on the mat. Our top leg is hovering in the air, and you can flex your foot so your toes are pointing forward. We're going to lift and lower that top leg. So go ahead and lift. You don't have to lift it to your highest height, maybe just a little bit lower, and then bring that leg down. And keep going, lift and lower. So by keeping the foot flexed, we're keeping toes pointing forward the whole time. So just checking in with that. If your toes start pointing up to the ceiling, you can just make a little adjustment so that they're pointing forward, so we're working the side of the hip muscles. By going nice and slow, we can really tune into the muscles that are working. Let's do one more here. And then bring that leg down. And if you want, you can just rest it down for a moment. And then we're going to come back to just hovering that leg just above the bottom leg, making little circles here. So go ahead, little circles in the air. And then we'll pause and go in the other direction. One more circle, nice work. Let that leg come down. And bend both knees, so knees are forward. Your feet are approximately in line with your hips and your body. For clamshells. So if, as you're doing these side of the hip exercises, your muscles feel a little bit tired, that's a good sign. It means you're strengthening. If you're ever feeling pain or discomfort, that's your sign to just take a break, back off, modify. All right, so we're going to keep feet touching, lift and lower that top knee. Keeping the hips stacked on top of each other. So with this exercise, we're not rolling back. We're just, you're not going necessarily for the height. You're going just to keep the hips stacked as you're lifting and lowering. Let's do two more here. And then knee comes down, lift both feet, keep the feet touching, and we'll continue with our clamshell. So with the feet lifted, you might get a little more height. We're still keeping the hips stacked on top of each other. Doing great. Keep it going. Awesome work. And two more here. Let the knee come down, let the feet come down. We're going to make our way to our other side, so you could just roll over, or you can switch around like I am. Just making your way to your other side. Take your time. And we're going to have our head supported in the way that works for you. Little bend in that bottom leg. Top leg is hovering, toes pointing forward. Lift and lower top leg. Toes are pointing forward the whole time. And one more here. And bring that leg down. Let it rest down for a breath. And then we're going to hover the leg again for our circles. Go ahead making those little circles in the air. And change direction, little circles. One more, and let that leg come down, bending both knees. Knees come forward for clamshell, feet are touching, lift and lower top knee. We'll do 2 more here. Let that knee come down, lift both feet, feet stay touching as we continue to lift and lower. And 2 more. Wonderful work. All right, knee down and feet down. We're going to roll onto our belly. So bringing your forehead down onto the mat and hands just on the outside of our shoulders, palms down with elbows lifted. From here, just slightly lift your hands off the mat. So just hovering your hands, feel the upper back activate here, shoulder blades pulling together. Pause here, and then just slightly lift the head. So you're still looking down at the mat. Everything's just lifting a little bit up, working that upper back, and then head down and hands down. Have a breath. Hover the hands. Hover the head, forehead down and hands down. And we'll just do that one more time. Hands lift, forehead lifts. Pause here, breathing. Head down and hands down. Nice work. And then you can stack your hands and let your forehead rest on your stacked hands. Legs are extended out behind you. We're on our toes. We're going to alternate legs, and we're going to slide our toes out to the side and then slide our toes back. And as we're sliding toes, we're actually leading the leg with the heel. So one leg, slide out to the side and then slide back. Other leg, slide out to the side and slide back. So just keep going like that. And we're working back of the legs, glutes, strengthening lower back area. We're dragging the toes so the heel is leading the way. Keep it going. Let's go 4 more. Nice work. And then we're going to just go ahead and roll onto our back. So you can just roll yourself right over onto your back. And we're coming to lying on our back with our knees bent, feet on the mat. Starting our cool down portion of the workout, where we're going to gradually let our heart rate, breathing rate come down, and it's a great time to get some stretches in. So we'll start with a dynamic stretch here. We're going to walk the feet a little bit wider, so they're about hip width out to the edges of your mat. Oh, sorry, not hip width, mat width out to the edges of your mat. And then arms come out to the side, and you can either have your arms right out to the side with palms facing up, or you can put a bend in your elbows, palms facing up, just getting a gentle restorative stretch across the chest. And with the knees wide, we're going to just do windshield wiper knees. So both knees sway over to one side, and then through center and over to the other side. And just letting those knees sway side to side. So we still have a little bit of core work here, working the side of the waist. And at the same time, we're getting that dynamic or moving stretch to the sides of the hips. We did a lot of work there. And the next time your knees fall over to the right, we can pause there. Just let those legs be heavy, sinking toward the floor and the mat. And then tuning back into your breath, full breaths. With your exhales, just letting your arms be heavy, letting your legs be heavy. Let's have one more full breath here. And slowly let your knees come up to center and let the knees come over to the other side. And then we're going to pause there. Again, just noticing the breath, just letting gravity help us with our stretch here. When you're ready, knees come back to center, and you can walk your feet back to about hip width apart. And then we're going to roll onto one side. Make your way to hands and knees. So coming back to that hands, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. We'll do a few cat-cow stretches for the spine here. So tucking the tailbone under, allow the back to round toward the ceiling, let your head drop. You can exhale here, and then let the tailbone lift, belly drops, gaze comes forward, inhale, and then you can just follow your breath, nice and slow, stretching out the spine, flexible spine, and maybe one more each way. Coming to your neutral spine, we're going to take a child's pose. So you could either have knees close together, or you might make your knees a little bit wider apart with big toes touching, and then hips come back towards the heels, and the hands can just stack under the forehead. Come into a comfortable position. Let everything sink to the mat. Again, full breaths. In this position, you could really notice the back of your rib cage expanding as you breathe. And then when you're ready, lifting up. And we're going to come to a seated position. If you have a cushion handy, you could sit up on a cushion. And sitting any way that's comfortable for you. You could also do this in kneeling. Coming back to that tall spine. We'll clasp our hands in front of our chest and then extend the arms forward. Just holding here. You can let your shoulders come forward a little bit. If you'd like, you could let your chin fall to your chest. Sending the breath to the back once again. And then sitting up tall, release your hands, bring your hands onto your lower back. Think about lifting the chest, shoulders back. Breathe here. We'll do those two one more time, just clasping hands in front. Reach your arms forward, reach your knuckles forward. Maybe let your chin fall slightly. Release that, sitting tall, palms on your lower back, bringing the shoulders back. And then just bring your hands into your lap. We'll finish with 3 shoulder rolls. So rolling the shoulders up, back, and down. 2 more times. Lovely work. So just a reminder before you get up off the mat, just check in, make sure you're not feeling lightheaded. If so, just take a few more moments, maybe just get up and sit in a chair for a moment. Thank you so much for doing this workout with me. Have a lovely day. See you next time.